I'm your host, Eric Eisenberg. Welcome to Hero Blend number 39. After months of waiting, the Avengers Age of Ultron trailer is finally online, and it is spectacular. The footage gave us some great insight as to what to expect from the 2015 blockbuster, but it left us with just as many questions. There's a ton to talk about, so check it out. Welcome back, everyone. I am very excited this week to have Mr. Mack Rawden from Cinema Blend down as my guest. How's it going, buddy?
It's going well. Exciting day today.
Yeah, this has kind of been a crazy week for Marvel fans. We finally got our look at the Avengers Age of Ultron trailer. Kind of mind-blowing. We learned a lot about Avengers as a result, but we also have a ton of questions, which is why I once again have you on the show, man.
I do. I have so much to talk about.
Just so you know, and for those who have not seen Mac on the show before, he does not know very much about comic books in general, pretty much at all. So basically, he's going to toss me questions that using my expertise, that I can help try and explain it for anybody who doesn't know as much as I do about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, comic books in general. Mac, hit me with your first question, buddy.
I got a lot of them, but we're going to limit it to 10.
There's a lot to go through.
Time. All right, so my first question is, why wasn't Ant-Man in the Avengers 2 trailer?
Okay.
So I heard when people first said, oh, Ant-Man's going to be joining the universe, they said, well, he has to because he invents something, and that kicks all the Avengers in motion, and so he has to be in there. But then now he's not, so I guess he's just in his own movie later?
Basically what it is Ant-Man is getting his own movie directed by Peyton Reed coming out next summer after the Avengers. It's coming out in July, so it's actually just a couple months after it. But basically what you heard was, in the comics, Ultron was created by Hank Pym. Like, Ultron was originally created as, like, basically for peacekeeping purposes. Unfortunately, he was basically there to solve the world. He's cause world peace. Unfortunately, he realized along the way in his programming that the flaw with the world, the reason why we're held back from world peace is because humans are inherently flawed, hence why he kind of feels the need to rise up and kill everybody. So that's probably what you heard in terms of why Hank Pym would be involved. In the movie, it looks like Robert Downey Jr. is going to be directly involved, or I should say Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr.'s character, is going to be directly involved with bringing Ultron to the world. So whether or not Ultron actually has any connections with Hank Pym within the universe, the character being played by Michael Douglas in Ant-Man movie, we don't know, but who knows, maybe. But for right now, it looks like Ant-Man definitely is not in the Avengers, and that it looks like Tony Stark is the guy really responsible for Ultron's takeover.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Moving on.
Bring it.
All right. So the first thing I noticed in the trailer is that Quicksilver is in the trailer.
Yes, Mr. Quicksilver. Pietro Maximoff.
But he's also in the X-Men movie.
He is.
And I know that there's all sorts of crazy rights issues where they do not cooperate at all.
Yes.
So how is this possible?
That is, basically, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are very complicated characters, simply because the way the rights work is that Fox owns the rights to all mutant characters. But the thing is, with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, they're basically as much identified as being Avengers characters as they are Fox characters, or as mutants. So the deal that works between them is that Marvel can use Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, but they can't mention them as part of the Avengers or anything like that, or part of the Marvel Universe. And on the Marvel side, they can't mention that that they're Magneto's children, or that they're mutants. It looks like they're going to be using the word miracles instead of mutants. But essentially, that's the reason why both characters are going to be, why
same identity.
It's the exact. Well, the interesting thing about X-Men: Days of Future Past is that they changed it to Peter Maximoff when actually the character's name is Pietro Maximoff, which has a kind of more European influence. Whether or not, I mean, that could be something that the Avengers: Age of Ultron changes, if not just to, like, distance itself. But it's going to be interesting, honestly, to see how they can kind of distance those two characters, because that is going to be something they need to do, considering they have the same name and the same power, and they're both in Kick-Ass.
Okay.
So. Evan Peters and Aaron Taylor Johnson. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, after Avengers 1,
yeah,
I thought that before we knew all this future, I thought it was going to be like this big culmination, Avengers 2, but then over the last few weeks, we've heard about all these different things with Civil War, and how they have all these grand things, and my concern, rightly or wrongly, is that that's going to make this movie feel like a stepping stone, like it's just been minimized compared to all this stuff we think we know about in the future?
Well, to kind of answer that question, I mean, obviously Civil War is going to be a big thing. Like, that is a cataclysmic event within the Marvel Universe. But to your point, if I'm understanding, you're basically saying, is Avengers 2 going to be less epic simply because of everything that's going to happen after it? I don't think it is. Because it's a sequel to one of the biggest films of all time. Just seeing all these characters back together, that's going to get everybody into seats. Obviously, Joss Whedon directed the hell out of this. Marvel gave him every resource that he could possibly ask for. This is going to be a huge movie. But as for what it means for the future, actually what I think is kind of fascinating about it is that up to this point, Marvel has been very structured. You had Phase 1, which was you have all the solo movies, you lead into Avengers, then you have all the Phase 2 movies, you lead into that Avengers. But what Civil War can kind of provide as an opportunity is to kind of get beyond that structure. Just kind of look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a world that you're telling stories within. So you're not just taking chapter steps to like the big Avengers movies. Instead, the solo films by themselves can be just as big. And like that can help Guardians of the Galaxy, for example, who now it seems aren't going to be with the Avengers anytime soon, if the rumors are true. And so, that basically, it allows Guardians to be as epic as the Avengers if it chooses to be. And essentially, I think it just raises the scale of the entire universe as a whole.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Re-excited.
Yes, there you go.
Okay. So another thing I noticed about this trailer is that there's just destruction everywhere.
Yeah.
There's buildings destroyed, people are sad and protesting, and it's just mass chaos.
There's chaos in this movie, yeah.
So, should I be expecting, I'll say, Man of Steel level chaos?
Well, what's interesting about Ultron is that he's not even like the Avengers, he's not, like, Man of Steel had spaceships coming in, it had giant devices, just coming in, blasting beams everywhere. Ultron is a different kind of villain in that sense. For one, he's going to be controlling all of technology, he's connected with, when he gets him within the network, obviously that's going to be a huge problem. But he can also, replicate himself, so he has, a robot army that he can create. I think there's going to be a great deal of destruction, and also it's going to be worldwide. This production went all around the world to film its scenes. I think we are going to see destruction on a massive scale. I don't necessarily think that it's going to be the same kind of destruction that we saw in Man of Steel, but the stakes are going to be high. I think that's safe to say.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I saw a lot of people in this trailer, right?
Yeah.
All the Avengers,
okay.
and I saw Samuel L. Jackson,
yeah.
Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch that we talked about. What I didn't see were a lot of side characters who have been in the solo movies leading up to this. Mm-hmm. So my question is, are a lot of them going to be in this movie, or are they just going to be glossed over?
It's kind of hard to say. The Avengers, the first one, that was something that it kind of lacked. It didn't have as many. It had Gwyneth Paltrow. You had you had Natalie Portman show up on a monitor for 10 seconds. I will say one side character that we do know is going to show up is Don Cheadle as James Rhodey Rhodes, Iron Man's best friend. He was in the Comic-Con footage. He's featured in one of the stills. We know he's in there. One big mystery that I don't know about is Falcon. He at the end of Captain America 2, they look like they're going off on a mission together. You'd think that he would end up in Avengers 2, but he's yet to be in any of the material so far. Thor, he's away from Asgard, so that's probably not going to play a role. Who knows what Jay Foster. I think basically what it is they aren't going to necessarily reveal all those kind of things, because those are elements that add to a bigger universe that they don't necessarily want to give away in the trailer, and it'd be fun to see those kind of characters coming into Avengers 2. And I think it's entirely possible that they will show up. They just may not give them away.
Okay.
Now.
All right. Okay, so those are the 5 heavy hitter questions.
Heavy hitter questions?
Now I got 5 just quick.
Lightning round.
One after the other.
Okay.
All right. So, I'm going to give you 4 superhero movies. Okay? I want you to rank them in order by what you think their Rotten Tomatoes score is going to be.
Ooh, that's a challenge. Okay.
All right.
It's looking into
we
the
got
future.
Avengers 2.
Okay.
Ant-Man. Batman vs. Superman.
Okay.
And the Fantastic Four reboot.
Okay. in the spirit of the week, I think I'm going to put Avengers Age of Ultron at the top, simply because I probably trust Joss Whedon's track record more than anybody else here. Avengers was such a fantastic film, and this movie looks so damn cool.
The trailer looks
It's
awesome.
just so good. I think I'm going to put that at the top. Honestly, just because it may just be a scale bias, but I can put Batman v Superman second, I'd say, because it's, again, a really ambitious project. If they get it right, it could be phenomenal. If they don't get it right, it could be disastrous. But I'm going to be optimistic and say it's going to be phenomenal. And also, I'm really just happy with everything I've heard so far, and they seem to have a plan. These are the lightning rounds I'm dwelling. Ant-Man and Fantastic Four. I will give the edge to Ant-Man only because Marvel Studios, they have a better track record at this point. I'm very excited for Fantastic Four, but that is a reboot that has been under some scrutiny as of late. I'm personally very excited for it, but Marvel just has the track record to kind of boost it, and they've been constantly getting good critics ratings, so I think that's my order. I think it's Avengers, Batman, Ant-Man.
Somewhere
Fantastic
Peyton
Four.
Reed is watching this and high-fiving people on the monitors that he's not last. Okay. Name one character who you think could die in Avengers 2.
Avengers 2. For the sake of brevity, I'm going to go one character, Hawkeye.
Okay. Sorry, Hawkeye.
Sorry, Hawkeye.
He's not high-fiving.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Well, wait, actually, Black Widow, because Hawkeye might... I don't know. It's probably one of those two. Or Quicksilver or Scarlet Witch. I don't know. It's a hard question. Next one!
Okay. All right. Do you think this is the last Marvel movie Joss Whedon will ever direct?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm probably going to say yes. Only because, I met Joss Whedon at the Avengers junket, and I don't think I've ever met a person that was more tired in my entire life. He was just completely drained. And also, and this movie, he's been talking about it constantly, like all through production during the summer. He was also completely exhausted. So, I see Joss Whedon taking this, moving on to bigger and better things because he can. He now has the clout. We've heard rumors that Joe and Anthony Russo, the Captain America 2 directors, might direct both Avengers 3 and Avengers 4. Personally, I'd love to see that. But if I were hedging my bets right now, I'd say that Joss Whedon is probably done after this movie.
Okay.
That's also when his contract ends.
Okay. Who is the character most likely to steal this movie?
Most likely to steal this movie? I'm gonna say Ultron. Because, one thing about Marvel that we have learned up to this point is that they kind of are weaker with villains, Loki being the obvious exception. But just from this trailer, holy crap! Spader is terrifying as a freaking 8-foot tall robot. This guy is scary, and just hearing that voice come out of it, I think that it really depends on whether they get the story right. But there is a ton of potential in Ultron. He is a fascinating character with a very interesting mentality, and Spader is such an incredible actor. And again, what we've seen so far, just both from this trailer and the Comic-Con trailer, I think Spader could easily just rock it.
I know that procedurals get a bad name from some people,
yeah,
but he is awesome every week on the blacklist.
Spader doesn't do much wrong, man. I love James Spader.
All right, last one.
Last question. Okay.
All right. How much money, to the closest millionth, do you think this movie will make?
Millionth as in decimal point?
No, to the closest million.
Okay.
Do you think this movie will make?
Certainly, worldwide or domestic?
Worldwide.
Worldwide. Definitely going over $1 billion. God, if this movie is quality, it could beat Avatar. I will say that.
You heard it here
you heard it here, guys. If Avengers 2, if it's as good as Avengers 1, I think it could easily beat Avatar. Even though it's coming out during the summer season, the Avengers, when it came out in 2012, made $207 million in its opening weekend, and even though in May, one of the most popular months of the year, it still was able to crush competition. Adding markets like China and various ones in Europe, yeah, easily. I think that's totally doable.
Awesome.
Mac, thank you so much for being on the show again,
Anytime.
man. You guys, again, the Avengers Age of Ultron trailer is on the site. Watch it 1 billion times. I'm sure you have already. Thank you so much again, Mac, and everyone. I will see you next week. Have a good one.